Hey everybody, I'm here to share with you a runic meditation method that I came up with that I found extremely helpful in understanding runes in general. Today we're going to be discussing Isa, which is the rune of inertia, and Isa is usually translated as ice from the Old Nordic language. I deal with the Elder Futhark, not the Armanen or Anglo-Saxon runes. And all you really need is some red nail polisher, a small piece of paper, uh, some kind of shell, and I like to use mugwort. You can really use any kind of herb, but mugwort is the northern shamanic uh, substitute for sage or translation of sage, basically. It's meant for divination and understanding deeper meaning within oneself in the universe. So that's how I view it, mugwort, again. And we just need about a pinch of that in the shell. And then what we're going to do here is put this on the ground. And then we're going to use a small piece of tape to put this rune right here. And if you want to have a meditation cushion, it's probably your best bet, but a pillow will work, or you can sit on the ground, but it's not as comfortable. All right. Now, Isa, it represents inertia and the inability to move forward with who one is or what one wants to do. Ice exists not only in the material realm, but it exists as in an equivalent in the spiritual realm as the inability to act in a way which one has divides for oneself. It shows us that things hold us back. It is a destructive force, but it can be made known to us, and it can tell us how it's enacting in our lives, what our obstacles are, in its control over those obstacles, because it does create obstacles for us, but it can also willingly be known to us through its own influence if we become one with it. Now, it's basically just a straight line. It's probably the most simple rune that there is. I like to draw it in red because it feels more like it's within us. It's like a line of blood, basically. It's connected with the frost giants and their force of destruction in this world, which is a desire for everything to return to the void. The runes themselves, one could say, are great forms of consciousness that are really the gods of the gods. They're forms of consciousness that don't really have a form that we can understand, so these runes are like the most basic forms because they were before creation took shape, before God created the gods, before any of Midgard or any of the astral realm or any of the causal realm was created. These runes sprung forth to initiate that creation. And Isa is just as important in our lives as any other rune because it can make itself known to us. It's a conscious force, just like the gods are, but it's in a state that is before the gods, and really underlies much of the, or many of the forces in this realm and in all the nine worlds, all the nine dimensions that are discussed in the runic poems. Anyway, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna light the mugwort. Just, you don't have to burn it all the way through, but you want to get some of it burnt so that it kind of coals up for you. I have other ashes in here, but the mugwort itself is all that's necessary, and it's that pinch that you kind of see. Well, it's not really a pinch, but it's a good little amount, so it'll burn for a while. You want it to burn for at least 10 to 15 minutes, if possible. Usually it doesn't catch very well, especially if it's real fresh, so it just needs to really be in the air, basically. And I found that this helps with runic meditation. It's a new technique I kind of devised, but it seems to work very well. It really helps if the shell has a kind of a hole in it. There you go. Kind of has a hole in it so air can get in. And it also needs to be pretty thick so you don't really burn anything. But there we go. We kind of got it going there. And basically what you want to do from here is get in a meditation posture. You want that rune to be right in front of you. You want it to be about eye level as much as possible. And I'm not gonna meditate on this video, but basically you get in your meditation posture and you focus on that rune. And then after you look at it for a long time, after it's kind of burned into your mind, that's when you start to meditate. You get in your posture. I like to have both hands about like that, right on my knees, and make sure your back is straight. And then you stare at that rune, and then after some time you close your eyes. And you want to think of the things that are connected to inertia, what ice represents. We can walk upon the paths that ice lays down for us. We can spring forth from inertia, as it is a solid ground. For us to do anything, really, we have to start at inertia to then become vibrant, to then ascend. Kind of an image I like to think of is somebody standing on solid ice and then jumping up as high as they can. That ice has to be solid, and inertia is that solid ice. You think about these things, you picture the rune in your mind as you close your eyes. You see that red rune in the darkness, in the void, and it's just flashing there right before you. It's really hard to, if you're not used to meditation, it's really hard to have an image in your mind for a long period of time. It usually comes in flashes when you first start meditating. But after, if you meditate for a month and you're meditating every day, let's just say 5 to 10 minutes, you'll be able to visualize much better than you ever did before. And meditation is so vital to these forces because meditation deals with our own personal consciousness. It helps us understand who we are as a person and our connection to the universe, to God, and to all the forces that exist. By grasping at the thread within ourselves, we can follow it all the way to everything in the universe and everything beyond this universe. And, of course, the spirit beyond creation. That's how I refer to God, the ultimate form of God, which is kind of the Godhead of everything, in my opinion. I don't know any of this. These are all just my guesses, but this is how I believe. Anyway, you want to picture that rune and then kind of follow some of these ideas about it in your head, without moving too much. Basic meditation techniques: keep your back straight, breathe evenly. And when you feel, not necessarily that 10 to 15 minutes has passed, though that's usually how much I meditate, when you feel like you've learned something about this rune, that's when you can open your eyes and just kind of take a deep breath and just kind of let the knowledge sink in. You don't want to do something immediately after you meditate. You want to kind of sit there and let it sink in. And this rune is real simple, so it's, you're not looking at much. But you want to follow what ice means, what inertia means, how an awareness of its presence in our lives can affect us. Now, you don't necessarily need the mugboard. You don't need a meditation pillow. You don't even need the paper and to write the rune. If you can do all this in your mind while you're sitting, of course, and meditating, that's all that's required. These are just a few aids that I have. And then what I do at the end is, after I open my eyes and let the knowledge sink in for a while, I'll take a lighter and then I'll let it burn so that this knowledge, it's kind of a symbol of this knowledge sinking in, instilling itself in our minds. And this is kind of like sigil magic, which is a whole other thing, but it's instilling itself in the universe. That knowledge that you learned is becoming a foundation within your consciousness as you burn this rune. And you watch it burn, and you kind of accept that it's returned to the void. It came before you, and now it's returning to the void. The void beyond our knowledge. Which, the void beyond our knowledge is a whole other idea, but it's basically everything outside of what we know and what we usually experience. Everything basically came from the void. It's a place of diverse kinds of energies, of the womb of everything that is. So every possibility had to start as an energy in the void before it became solidified in this realm and all the realms. So you kind of want to imagine that rune going back to the void, uh, where it belongs, and try to see it in your daily life. Try to see it in how does inertia exist in the world, and it exists in all things. Matter itself being solid has something to do with Isa being solid, being inert. Non-vibrant. Kinaz, which is another rune, is really the rune of fire and opening. This is the rune of inertia, the solid ground upon which we get ready to jump into higher levels. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here, but I hope that these techniques seem interesting to you, and maybe they'll help you if you use them. If you use them, they don't help you, then don't use them. But again, these are just all my opinions, so feel free to say any comment you want in the comment section. But I'm ended there. Thank you.